Have you ever stopped to wonder how we taught a computer to see? I mean, really see the world like we do. It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, but it's actually one of the biggest breakthroughs in AI. And the secret, it turns out, was hidden inside our own minds all along.
Just think about it for a second. You glance outside, and your brain just knows. Instantly. That's a car, that's a tree, that's a person. It feels effortless, right? But for a computer, that simple act is unbelievably difficult. So how on earth does our brain pull it off? And how did we copy that trick to teach a machine to do the same thing?
Okay, so to really get the solution, we first have to appreciate just how tough the problem is. See, the challenge for a computer isn't just about seeing. It's about seeing through all the noise and chaos of the real world.
Those really early AI models, like the perceptron, they could handle a simple problem. Give it a super clean picture of one thing on a plain background, and yeah, it could probably figure it out. But that's not the real world, is it? The real world is messy. You've got cars from weird angles, in bad lighting, maybe half hidden behind a pole. And that's exactly where those early models would just completely fall apart.
And here's the real kicker. When a computer tries to turn all those messy, real-world images into data, things get hopelessly jumbled. The data point for a car might actually look more like a tree than another car. The information is no longer neatly separated. It becomes what we call a non-separable problem. A basic AI just can't draw a clean line through that chaos to tell things apart.
So what do you do? How do you untangle that mess? Well, this is where some brilliant researchers had a light bulb moment. They figured the answer might be hiding in the most powerful vision processor on the planet. The human brain. Turns out, our brain doesn't just see car in one go. Nope. It builds the idea in layers, from the bottom up. It starts with the absolute basics, simple things like lines, edges, and corners. Then, it starts piecing those together into more complex parts, kind of like subskeletons, a wheel shape, a window shape. And only after it assembles all those pieces does it finally recognize the whole thing and say, aha, that's a car. It's a truly brilliant, hierarchical system.
So, we can boil that whole biological magic trick down to 3 main jobs. First, there's filtering. The brain is a master at ignoring all the junk in the background and just zeroing in on the patterns that matter. Second, scaling. It makes sure a wheel is recognized as a wheel, whether it's huge and right in your face or tiny and way off in the distance. And finally, once it has that clean, scaled-down info, it can do the easy part, classifying it. And this biological blueprint, this is where the real genius of AI comes into play, because engineers figured out how to copy the brain's secret recipe and bake it into a machine learning model. This slide right here is basically the Rosetta Stone of computer vision. It's the key to the whole thing. Each of the brain's operations was mapped perfectly to a mathematical technique. The brain's filtering trick, that became convolution. The brain's ability to scale, that became pooling. And that final classification step, that was handled by what we call fully connected layers. You put all that together, and bam, you get a convolutional neural network, a CNN.
All right, let's break that down, starting with convolution. This is the AI's version of filtering. Just imagine a tiny digital magnifying glass, a filter, and its only job is to find one thing, like a vertical line. It scans across the entire image and creates a new map that basically screams, hey, vertical line here, every time it finds one. A CNN does this with hundreds of different filters, finding all the simple edges, corners, and textures in an image.
So after you have all these maps of different features, pooling comes in to do the scaling job. It shrinks these maps down, summarizing them to keep things manageable. The most popular way to do this is called max pooling. It looks at a little chunk of the feature map and just keeps the strongest signal. It essentially says, I don't care exactly where that edge was, just that it was present in this general area. And that right there is what makes CNNs so powerful. It makes them immune to small changes in scale or position. Armed with this amazing brain-inspired toolkit, the world of AI was set for what you could only call a Cambrian explosion. The progress that came next was just breathtaking. I mean, just look at how fast things moved. In 2012, AlexNet came along and proved this whole CNN thing could work on a massive, real-world scale. Just 2 years later, VGGNet showed that making the network deeper was the key. Then, in 2015, ResNet took that idea and ran with it, creating a mind-boggling 152-layer network that just shattered all expectations. By 2019, it wasn't just about size, it was about being smart, with EfficientNet mastering the balance between power and speed. Every step was a giant leap forward. And if you want to put that progress into perspective, this number says it all. 3.6%. That was the error rate Microsoft's ResNet achieved on the huge ImageNet challenge. For comparison, the human benchmark for that same task is about 5%. Think about that. For the first time on this specific challenge, a machine was officially seeing better than we could. So what was ResNet's secret sauce? It was this beautifully simple but powerful idea called a residual block. As the quote here explains, instead of making the network learn a whole new complicated picture from scratch at every single layer, it only had to learn the change, the delta, from the layer before it. This turned out to be a way easier problem for the AI to solve, and it's what let them build those record-breakingly deep networks that worked so well. So we started this whole thing with a simple question about telling a car from a tree, and we ended up with a technology that literally mirrors the visual cortex in our own brain. A technology that's now at the heart of everything from self-driving cars to analyzing medical scans. It is an incredible story of biology inspiring a technological revolution. Which, of course, leaves us with one really exciting question to chew on. If we taught a machine to see by mimicking our brains, what are we going to teach it to do next? Thanks for tuning in.